Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar.
Yeah.
Today's date is, I think today's the last day of September, right?
Is it
September
really?
30th.
Yeah, it is.
The year of our Lord, 2022.
2022.
And I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. Thank you for tuning in.
And we've all made it this far.
Right. We have Jeremy today. Jeremy, you want to say hello?
How you doing? I'm your old pal, Jeremy.
What's
You know
that shirt
me.
say now? I am to
aim to
to
misbehave.
Oh, wow. So, well, thank you for tuning in. We are live right now on
That's right.
YouTube, Facebook, and
Everywhere else, fine.
Rumble.
Yeah. And
Right.
then later on, it'll be on podcasts everywhere. You can't miss it, especially if you type in "Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar."
Right. If you guys want to get a hold of us, can you throw up the email
gonna pop
address,
up.
Jeremy? For people who are on Spotify, it's drkachmar excuse me. No, that's not the other one. For email us. So it's Dr. Kachmar.
I'm sorry, this is all very small writing.
Dr. Kachmar at iCloud.com. That's iCloud.com. And I am a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. I work at multiple hospitals: Jersey Shore University Medical Center, Community, Southern Ocean County Hospital, Monmouth South. Been practicing for about 30 years. I am a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. If your doctor's not board-certified, find another one. If your foot and ankle surgeon is not board-certified in reconstructive foot and ankle,
Why'd you even go into their practice?
Listen, I know. There's a hospital somewhere in this state that there's a doctor who is not board certified or qualified, and he's running a department. So you tell me if that's cool. Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah, listen, it's crazy, and
so that's why you go to the guy you know best, and you've been listening to for all these years.
So if you
the
want,
amazing doctor,
right.
and incomparable Dr. Michael Kachmar.
And if you got any questions about foot and ankle stuff, just give us go to our webpage, which is Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center. Jeremy's going to put it up there for us.
Right up here.
There it is. So it's Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. Mm-hmm. It is loaded, chock full of great information about foot and ankle injuries and abnormalities and afflictions and also some remedies and modifications for better healthy life. So anyway, so today we want to talk. We want to talk about something that's been in my wheelhouse for a long time, and I have a very concerned about it. And this is drug overdoses. And before you say, I don't want to listen to that. This is the fentanyl drug overdose. Now, this show is medical political, and this overdose phenomenon, tragedy that's happening in our state right now, in this country, I should say, is out of proportion. I've never seen it. This is all-time high, even worse than the 80s when we had all the drug stuff. And when you combine the drug overdoses, the suicides, you're pushing 150,000 people are dying a year. But right now, the drug overdose is around 100, 107.
But that's why we talk about it on this show. And the rest of it and where it comes from, that becomes the political part that Dr. Kachmar was mentioning.
Well, I got this. This is an article that we got, and Jeremy's going to pull up. This is from U.S. Congressman Gregory F. Murphy, M.D., and I don't think he'd mind us looking at his article here.
No, probably not.
And this article was put out on February 15th, 2022. So it's a little bit dated. And this is I guess he's a state senator. Yeah. And this is, in the title here is Fentanyl is Killing More Young Americans Than COVID-19. And we talk about the fentanyl crisis, just so you know so people don't know what fentanyl is.
I believe that's still true.
Yeah, it is, yes.
Yeah.
So fentanyl is a synthetic drug. It's a synthetic opioid that's made primarily in, can you put me in a small box there, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Primarily in, you just got to hit me there in a small box. Yeah, hit me. No, and then hit this bigger one.
Yeah.
There it is, and then hit the big one again. So it's primarily what do you call it? Made. That's right. You could play around with it. It's primarily made. You got to have to positive. We're a live show. The positive one. There.
Yeah.
It's see what a little.
Hang on, I'll figure it out. Keep
So
on going.
it's predominantly made in China and then sent to the United States, and it's coming through the border. It's coming through the border, and it's coming through the border, and it's really, really, really bad, Jeremy. And it's it's one of the worst things that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, and you don't know how to people don't know what to deal with it, how to stop it, and I tell you, it's getting worse and worse. And so put the article back up for me.
Right.
So this article here talks about the nation surpassed 100,000 overdoses in a 12-month period. Okay, there you go, Jeremy, you got it now. And it's pretty bad. Fentanyl, again, is a synthetic opioid made in China, and then it's sent to Mexico, and they're bringing it up. They actually have it now. They're selling it. It looks like candy, and the kids are getting it, and it's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. It looks like Sweet Tarts, if anybody who's ever had those, or Razzles.
Yeah.
They look just the same. Or those, those little sweets that were in like the little wrappers. What are they called? I forget
Skittles.
what they're called.
Well, but if you look at this, look at this one sentence here, which is
Smarties.
Right. Look at this right here. Tragically, fentanyl fatally poisons one person in America every 8.57 minutes, killing 175 people every single day. And this is mostly young kids. This doesn't matter if you're a Republican, doesn't matter if you are a Democrat, doesn't matter if you belong to Black Lives Matter or Republican Party. It's killing our kids. And this is really, really, really bad.
And we are just under 2 minutes away since our show started for another one to die.
Right.
That's scary. That's really scary.
All right, so go get out of this and just go to you right now. So you're looking. So Jeremy, fentanyl is a national tragedy. Yeah. I want to give you another article because all of these articles here kind of give us an idea of what's going on. So this is, and I'm making this up now. Here, this is another article here, and this is out of Area of Focus. It's improving healthcare quality, and it says too many lives lost comparing overdose mortality rates and policy solutions across high-income counties and countries. This is just a great article. I point people towards this. And but the interesting thing here is that we've been having our heads up our butt with this coronavirus while people are dying left and right in overdoses. And it used to be people say, "Oh, it's more in countries and poor countries." We have one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but we have one of the worst drug addiction problems. And look at this. I'm sorry here, but this is a great study. You like charts and everything.
I do.
So this is United States. We're supposed to be the most powerful, the most wealthy, right? Now this is overdose related deaths per 1 million population. We are the top of the heap. And then I don't know why Scotland's the next, but all the way down you have France, Netherlands, Switzerland, very small.
Why is Scotland specifically the next?
Yeah.
That's strange.
Well, it's the UK with Scotland. I think, but interestingly enough, there's a lot of statistics. You could read this.
Further down, it says, hold on, go up. Further down, it says UK, England, and Wales. So up here, Scotland is...
Yeah, that's you, Jeremy.
Is the second height? Come on, man.
Well, but my point is that United States is the first.
And I don't see China on there anywhere.
No, they
right?
no. Yeah, they execute.
Where's China's
China executes people if they're selling drugs. They put a bullet in their head.
Right,
so here's another paragraph here. It says U.S. drug policy leans more heavily on law enforcement to the detriment of treatment, and we should be treating more of these people. And this is why I like this article. I'm not a big locking people up. A lot of these people who are doing drugs are depressed. They're got a lot of issues going on here. A lot of them are just experimenting, young kids. But here's another one. U.S. provides less access to drug treatment and harm reduction services. And that goes hand in hand, Jeremy, with suicides. Yeah. You know, most of your gun deaths in the United States, I think there's about 45, 50,000 gun deaths a year. And we all focus on these mass shootings. But really, I think about 60% of the deaths, gun deaths, are suicides. People shooting themselves, mostly with a handgun. It's pretty hard.
You don't think about that. You always think there's got to be.
No, Jeremy, you don't think about it.
Oh yeah, I don't think about it.
You don't think about it.
I'm sorry.
I think about it.
I live in a dream. I live in a dream.
You live in a bubble.
Yeah, I do.
You live in a bubble inside a bubble, and then you stick your head in the ground as an ostrich. So, but no, you make it
cozy.
But the point is that we need more treatment. Not only for drug addiction, but we need more treatment and for people who are mentally ill. Now here, look at this here. This is one here. People with high risk opioid use are much more likely to access effective addiction treatments. Less likely, or more likely. People with high risk opioid use are much more.
Yeah, but look, Scotland's number 5 there.
No, but let me.
What's going on?
But look, read this. But this helps you to understand that. So people read this article here, with high risk opioid use are much more likely to access effective addiction treatments like methadone internationally than in the United States. In other words, the other countries they give their patients methadone. They help them. And I know that in this country, it's, you don't give them anything. Well, but you don't have the deaths then. You see, you got to look at what's going on here. Where if you don't give these people, they're addicted. You need to treat them. And part of treatment is methadone. I think it's a great drug. I mean, I know you say, we're just addicting them. But then they're not dying, unless you want these people to die. And there are people dying left and right in this country. It's terrible. Yeah. U.S. has weaker mental health care. These are just things I wanted to show out. U.S. invests less in social support services. So this is a great article, and I don't think it's really biased. I think that, we try in this country. We really try. But we're losing the mark. You could put me back on, Jeremy. Yeah. Get out of this for a minute. I think that this. So we are number one in the fentanyl killing. It's not. You don't see this in Russia. You don't see this in, like you made a good point. You don't see this in what do you call it? China. China has none of this.
Forget it.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because maybe they're making it and sending it elsewhere.
Yeah, they're making it. They're making it. They're making it, and they're giving it to us, right? You don't think so? Here, this is now the last one. This is DEA, Department, right? DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, United States Drug Enforcement Administration. Right out of their webpage.
Fentanyl Awareness.
Hashtag just know.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it like, remember with Reagan's wife, she said, just say no?
Yeah, just say no to drugs.
Now
right?
Now it's like hashtag just say
just
no.
No.
Not no, N-O. No. And just no.
Yeah.
And
Learn more about
Instead
it.
of saying say just no, they're saying hashtag just KNOW.
Right.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Fentanyl is a single. So what? Right. So it's. Remember, you used to say, "Just say no."
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. They were playing that around the time they were still playing. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? When we gave a shit about families and stuff. We were out there really busy trying to protect them.
I love
all
this
of this
though.
outward
It
stuff.
used to be just say no.
Yeah. But doesn't that show you where the political mind goes and what's more important now than opposed to then?
Well,
right?
Here it is. Fentanyl awareness. Fentanyl is the single deadliest drug threat our nation has ever encountered, says Administrator Anna Melgram. Fentanyl is everywhere, from large metropolitan areas to rural America. No community is safe from the poison. We must take every opportunity to spread the word to prevent fentanyl-related overdose deaths and poisoning from scores of American lives.
How about hang on. To prevent them let's just do one thing first. Let's make the people who are making them not color them in rainbow colors and make them look more like, hey kids, this is a bowl of candy at Granny's house.
Well, listen, go on TikTok. You know, on the internet they got commercials for it. You know how to make it higher. You can put it in your marijuana, put it in your this and that.
Yeah, how to better get a high off of stuff like this.
So here's what which is disingenuous to me. I'm going to try to tell you why this is happening because when Trump was in power, when Trump was the border control, this stuff was starting to go down. Drug deaths with Barack Obama were going up and up and up because he had open borders. When they started to close the border, it went down and down. Now there's a free fall down there. There's a free fall and so what is the DEA? Their answer? We got to create a special exhibit. That's what they did. Faces of fentanyl. And so this is, I mean, it's, you know, you read this article.
That hashtag just from the start, that's marketing. And the just know thing, I know it's a play on words where you're supposed to read how it's spelled out. Just know, as in knowing what you're doing tomorrow, but it sounds like just know or just say no. Okay, but how about two hashtags where one's very clear? Just say no to drugs. Still, let's use that. Let's not be all swift. No,
how about
smart.
just know about it?
Right? Yeah, but just know about it, and take a look at our very affordable prices. You know,
now, fentanyl. In the meantime, what are they doing? They're letting drug dealers out of the state, out of the jails. In New Jersey, if you were convicted of selling marijuana, which is a drug, I'm sorry, you could actually be preferentially picked to sell marijuana legally.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then they're sitting here going, we're all worried about it. So fentanyl is highly addictive, found in all 50 states, and drug traffickers are increasingly mixing it with other types of drugs in powder and pill form in an effort to drive addiction and attract repeat buyers. So they're trying to get you addicted, Jeremy.
Never. My only addiction.
So here you go. This is now the
them.
DEA. When was this article written? I want to make this point right here. It doesn't show. Is there a date on here? I just pulled this off just recently. So I don't. Let me see. When was this published? But right here. Look at this one right here, Jeremy. You got to read this. I want you to read this right here. Read this thing right here to me.
Okay. According to the CDC, 107,375 people in the United States died of drug overdoses and drug poisonings in the 12-month period ending in January 2022.
Now now this is September going into October.
Right.
So I guarantee you those numbers are going to be higher.
Sure.
Now look, a staggering 67% of those deaths involved synthetic opioids like fentanyl. And it's mixed with other drugs, cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, marijuana. And it says only 2 milligrams of fentanyl is considered a potentially lethal dose. You know how small that is? That's like a grain of rice.
Yeah.
So now they have, it's passed already. Were you out there? National Fentanyl, here it is, National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day. It was August 21st, 2022.
We're streaming on currently YouTube, but not Facebook. It's not on Facebook right now.
Oh, it's really not, huh? Uh-oh.
So I don't know if
maybe they took us off.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing on my phone. I was just making sure we were up everywhere.
Go out of this real quick. You can just check. Go where the little pencil is right there. Go down. Here, give me the thing. I'll do it. So what we need to do, Jeremy, is we need to understand right now what do you call it is the can't do that now. What it's really about and how much it's going to affect people. So let me just finish up. So get me out of this for a minute. I want to go.
We're in preview mode now.
Just go that there, yeah.
Like I don't want to.
No. Here we're having technical difficulty here.
Yeah.
No, just hit the No, don't do that because just hit preview mode.
Okay.
Go back. Yeah, hit that. Get rid of that.
No.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. We're having technical difficulty here.
It happens.
So let's go back up to here.
This is what happens when you have a live show, folks.
That's right.
Things have a way. It's called entropy.
There we go.
Best laid plans of mice and men. You know?
All right, Jeremy.
All
All
right.
right, so we figured out. So let's go back here. Let's get out of here for a minute, and let's go here. I want to get one more thing up here. So, so now we established, what's going on. So I just want to give you one other thing here. This is another interesting. Here, take this. So now, this is out of the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Can you put the so people who are out there on
Overdose rates.
right? So this is so people who are on the what do you call it, Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You got to go to our webpage and check this out. I mean, to our
if you guys tuned in for a happier show, you missed it by that much.
right. So this is overdose
rate,
deaths. I just want to show you this here,
Overdose death
and
rates.
this is the national drug overdose deaths number among all ages. And I just look at it how it's climbing, Jeremy. Look at how it's
Oh,
climbing.
look how it darted right up there. That's amazing.
Right. So
Jesus.
so it had a little dip when Trump was around there, but it's going up and up.
No,
and
that's
up.
that's a considerable dip. That went underneath the line. If you look at it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dipped down
Look
well
at that.
underneath the line to nothing.
Right.
Below nothing.
Right. It was pretty good for a while. If you look at different here now, this chart here is by the drug classes, and if you look here, cocaine, heroin, antidepressants, systemic other than and then other than primary fentanyl, it shows you how which drugs are.
I mean, while Trump was in office, there was still trouble, but
It dipped. It dipped.
But it
dipped big time.
Shot straight up as soon as Biden was in office. And when was the last time President Biden talked about fentanyl at all? I'd love to know that.
Now, listen. The problem with fentanyl, there's a problem in this country. This is multi-layer. You got to remember. There's people who are addicted to drugs. They're not being treated appropriately. We don't have the programs to help these people. There's not enough mental interdiction.
That's my point.
Then
because they're not talking about this the way they should be. Okay, these deaths continue. This is something that is not interesting our current government right now.
Yeah, but you know what's happening, though, Jeremy? It's affecting the people. You're going to get to the point. Now, this is year after year after year. There's everybody in this country knows somebody who died of a drug overdose or committed suicide by either gun or medication. There's a lot of people who commit suicide. They die by a drug overdose, so they're committing suicide. They want to die. Then there's other kids and people who die of a drug overdose. It's just they were.
Or they're in drugs and they're driving their cars. Remember that?
Right.
Remember that went up on Brick Boulevard where the guy, those
Yeah.
kids went up
Yeah.
and they flew up and
Yeah.
landed through the second
Right.
story of that house.
Right. I think this is a good article.
That was
I want
nuts.
people to go to this. I mean, this is the National Institute on Drug Abuse, okay? And this was overdose drug death rates. And it's really interesting when you start looking at this here. I want to show one more here.
Yeah.
National drug overdose deaths involving antidepressants by opioid involvement. So people are mixing this shit all together. Here's the links here. The national drug involved overdose deaths. There's all these.
They're hoping Percocet is going to help them out of it and stuff. And that I got to tell you something with my own experiences with that when I was in pain.
Right.
They don't do anything for you but make you a little sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell everybody that now. They make you a little sleepy. Nothing more than you could get from a low prescribed Xanax or just a sleeping pill from your local drug fair. That's all it is. You're not getting you're not seeing penguins. You're not seeing anything, or it's not any kind of psychedelic high. It just makes you sleepy. So why they persist on doing these and getting addicted to them and other people addicted to them is beyond me.
Well, I think that marijuana right now that's legal all over the place, and in New Jersey, if you're under 21, you could smoke it in public. It's not criminal. Yeah. It's not delinquent. You're pushing these kids. It's a push drug. It's a entry level drug. Yeah. It's very powerful.
Gateway.
It's a gateway drug. It's screwing their heads up. It's causing cardiovascular disease. I don't give a crap what you say. 20 years from now, you're going to be looking at the picture up there we have on the wall, where behind Jeremy, and there's a picture there. Jeremy, it says that's from 1946 Life magazine.
It's a Camel's cigarette ad. And it says more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Right. So back in them days, tobacco's fine.
And there's a George C. Scott looking doctor with a nice cigarette in his hand.
Now, we know that it causes cancer, and still people smoke. But with the drug addiction, Jeremy.
And those are unfiltered Camels he's smoking.
Yeah, they were all unfiltered.
Yeah,
they had no filters back in them days. So what I think my point is that you have people right now who are dying of drug overdoses in astronomical numbers. And the reason why I bring this in the political realm is because we've had a drug addiction problem in this country for a long time, but it's getting worse. We're worse than any other country. We don't do interdiction. We treat it criminally, which I think is wrong. And so we have a social medical problem. But now, on top of that, you have a ton of drugs coming in. It used to be back 20 years ago, all the addictions and drug overdoses were people who were taking prescription drugs inappropriately, Percocets. Yeah. They came down on us. You're causing all these lawsuits about Percocets and how people die. Well, now there's no more Percocets. They're still out there, but they're selling it illegal. Now you can buy illegal Percocets. But you know what? Fentanyl is cheaper. It's easier to get, and it gets a better high.
And
I guess
they come in a large variety of fun rainbow colors.
Right. So let me go before we get into our next time. Let's go to the whiteboard. So here's the deal.
Let's go. To the videotape.
Why is this all happening? Why are we having a huge amount of fentanyl?
Whoa.
Okay. So here's the deal. Fentanyl is made in China. So just like somebody would say, I don't want to say the vaccine, not the
I'm in my head. I'm thinking, ladies and gentlemen, no one on this show or has anything to do with it are extremists in the slightest.
No,
we promise you.
No. But so it's coming to Mexico, and then they're shipping it over here. The other thing that Mexico is making now, they're taking the ingredients that China brings into Mexico, and they're making really good, pure methamphetamine, which is your crystal meth, and people mix that together. So just to give you an example,
that stuff is nasty.
Now listen to me, George Floyd. When George Floyd was high on the combination of fentanyl and methamphetamine. They call it a goofball.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's a lot of people use that.
That's been around for a while though, goofballs. But
not the fentanyl's been around for a while too. Yeah. So now why? Well, here we have. Head of Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Now, can you guys? I want you to say his name.
Alejandro Nicholas Mayorkas.
I like that name, Alejandro.
It'd be great if he was like, some rich millionaire whose life you saved, and now he's giving you access to his luxury yacht whenever you want it.
Right, I'd like to see
my friend Alejandro Nicholas Mayorkas.
Right. I'm going to meet him down. He's the guy you meet in Aruba. He's got the 19-year-old trophy wife.
Yeah, trophy wife.
Now, this guy right now, his policies are the border is wide open. And millions of people are coming in. And the problem is...
Wait, hold on. This guy currently has the easiest frickin' job on the planet. All he has to do is nothing. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
Well, that's what he is doing, nothing.
Yeah.
And there's so... I'm not going to get into a whole political thing about immigration. I think that from a medical standpoint, I see it already. A large percentage of these people who are coming into this country, especially the Hispanic in South America, Central America, per capita have high levels of diabetes. I can tell you personally, I just had a guy in the office Thursday, 32 years old, works as a chef, doesn't speak a lick of English. Right. I'm very sure he's illegal, has no insurance, and I had to use my phone to translate, I should say. And he's 32 years old, insulin-dependent diabetic. I don't know where he's getting his insulin. He's got to go to clinic. And there's
have their ways of finding that stuff.
Hundreds of thousands of people. How many of them have tuberculosis? So you're impacting, the medical facilities. When you go to wait in the emergency room now and it's 4 or 5 hours, good luck, because a lot of these people who are coming to this country have major medical issues, even though they're 20, 30, 40 years old. A lot of them have diabetes. On top of that, and I've seen this before. I saw this in the 2008. I'm not saying these are bad people, Jeremy. Don't get me wrong. I would do the same thing what they're doing. They're coming here They're not. It's not for asylum. It's for money. They want to have a great life. It's economics.
Well, I mean, let us
you
not
can't
forget.
blame
Hold
them.
on, hold
you can't blame them.
Let us not forget at the start of all of that, okay, they had President Biden on the television telling them all of these things that they're going to be provided with.
Well,
should they make that
well,
journey?
he's keeping that promise.
Yeah, I mean, but how else? I mean, they're flooding in.
Right.
Just to get a handout.
Right. But you can't blame them.
No, you can't blame
So
them
let's
at
go.
all.
So what's happening is that when my grandfather came in from Russia as a immigrant, it was legal, and they evaluate you. If you were sick, you went sent back. Okay, so now what you got is
My grandparents came over with my dad. It was legal.
Right.
You know, they did the right thing.
Right, and they had a suitcase full of scotch, right?
Yeah, they did.
They Scott. That's why you call. That's why you're Scottish.
people.
Is that why you call?
Yeah.
Why a Scots called Scottish? Because they drink scotch.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, they came in here. So now you have these people coming in, so you're hitting the medical system, right? And you're going to hit the school system and a lot of these people, they have no education whatsoever. But my point is what's happening now is the fentanyl is coming in with these people and through the border. And it's just out of control. And this fentanyl is killing people. Maybe the reason why, I don't know why it's so prevalent in Scotland. I don't know if it's an immigration thing. It's coming in there.
That sounds mental to me.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I have to drink that. But I can tell you right now, we're number one. This individual here, pronounce his name, I like it.
Alejandro Nicholas Mayorkas.
Mr. Mayorkas. He needs to be investigated as soon as the Republicans get in. And if anybody's going to be impeached, he should be the first one to be impeached because for the biggest reason, him letting all this fentanyl into this country. And it could be stopped. Now, can it be stopped in its tracks? It could be reduced tremendously. And I know Trump was working on it, but they battled him with the wall. And immigration, we need immigration. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to get off on a wrong tangent. We need immigration. I love the South American people. They're Christian. They're good family people. But it has to be in a timely fashion, and it has to be monitored. What we have right now is a free-for-all, and you're getting all of the negative aspects of open borders. Look at Italy. Look at Europe. They're trying to back off on the open borders. What do you think? Why you're in your country in England? They backed off and had the Brexit.
Yeah.
So they're not. We can't.
Well, they had gotten inundated with Croatians too at some point. I mean, I mean, most of the bed and breakfasts in London are owned by Croatians.
Yeah. Listen, immigration is good, but it's. We always say too much too soon, and it's bad. And what you have right now is you have unmonitored, just out of control immigration. Yeah. And that's why I love what DeSantis did when he sent those people up to Martha's Vineyard.
What a brilliant.
They weren't even there 24 hours. They you know what they did? They actually declared emergency and brought in the National Guard. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Those people were there for like 7 hours and then boom, gone. But please keep our borders open. Mm-hmm. We want to open our arms to all the impoverished people that are coming into our great land.
What we want to say about fentanyl and for our audience is, first of all, if you're a parent, you gotta watch what your kids are doing on the internet, especially if they're ordering. If they could order this stuff on the internet, they could get one pill. They think it's Percocet or they think it's something else. And they get it, and they could have one pill, and they could overdose. Yeah. They stop breathing, and it's not a bad idea to have Narcan. If you could get Narcan, you could buy it now in a drugstore, I believe. Really? Yeah, Narcan is a drug. You spray it in the nose, and
ask your local chemist.
Right, and your pharmacist will have, and you could reverse the effects.
That's a chemist.
But you need to. A lot of people. That's your England. That's your English chemist. They call them chemist.
Sneaking out, huh?
Yeah. But you have to monitor it, and you got to teach your kids. Like back in the day, when I went to school, try this, try a pill, have a drink. You can't do that anymore. You cannot experiment. It's too damn dangerous.
When one pill can kill you?
One pill could kill you, Jeremy, and it could be small.
I mean, that's about as risque or close to a Russian roulette.
It's not that it can. It's not.
It could.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you got.
Oh, it's not a possibility.
It's
it
happening.
will. Yeah.
It's happening. My point is, right now, You go on the literature,
gotcha.
people, and you go research how many kids, their parents are downstairs watching TV. These kids are good kids. They're athletes. They're in their church, whatever. They get something delivered in the mail, and it's a pill. They want to get high and listen to some music, and bang, they're dead. The parents go up there, and the child's cold and dusky gray. Yeah. I mean, they're dead. It's happening. I think last time I read it was about 300-400 of those cases in the United States in the past year. You know, I don't like anybody dying, but when you have these innocent children, they're not even bad kids, you know. And even if they are bad kids, you know, I mean, we all when we were younger. I mean, how smart were you when you were 15, 16, 17? You
Pretty
know,
smart, Mike.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You didn't do stupid things, right?
Oh, I did do.
You didn't sniff a rag full of gas or something?
No, I didn't do that. That was the only thing I didn't do.
Right,
but
I can imagine. I kind of think it's like a baby. You know, a little baby. You know, 1-2-year-old, they'll put anything in their mouth. You know, when you're 14, 15, you're gonna try any.
No, you're right. You're right. I did some crazy stuff back in the day. Yeah,
the thing is now, what's happening is in New Jersey, for instance, just like think of the Cascade here. Yeah. The pot they have.
But before you go any further, I will state that I came out of the generation of just say no to drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't smoke pot until I was in my late 20s. Okay. And that's it. I've never done anything beyond that.
Right. Now the government says just no.
Just no. But it should say
KNOW.
Just say no to drugs, kids. Because they're not. Because they
can't say that because
that hashtag is not advertising to children. It's advertising to just anybody.
And they can't say
it's
just
blanket
no.
Hashtag.
How can you do that when the state of New Jersey, our Governor Murphy, they legalized marijuana for 21 and older?
Right.
Listen to everybody, because this is law right now. This is what is reality in this state.
Right.
Okay? You can smoke, if you're 21 years old, you can smoke it, and you can smoke it in your house. You're not supposed to be able to smoke it outside, in public, on the beach, driving down the road, okay? And you shouldn't be impaired. There's a B-U-T, in the law. And it says, if you're under 21,
right,
it's not illegal, and it's not delinquent.
Right.
You could give all the police could do is give the child a warning.
Yeah.
Now, if you're that means
which really boils down to
nothing.
Oh, you
right.
You bad kid.
And like I see it on the beach where I work, I see it all around. So you could smoke a pot on the beach, on the boardwalk, in the park, anywhere you want in New Jersey if you're under 21. And I don't even know how much is going to be illegal to have on, how much you could have on you. And there's a whole page of what the police can and cannot do. So if you're driving down the road and the cop pulls you over, maybe your headlight was out, and the car reeks of pot, that's not probable cause for him to search the car.
That's
even if you're underage.
Stupid.
Now they also added on to that hashish and alcohol.
Right.
Now you say, why'd they do this? What, Mike? You're not right, Mike. You're wrong. Well, the reason why it's a good reason. I understand it, but I think it's a far stretch. And you know, they were saying that the minority children in the cities were getting hassled more by the police. Which is maybe not.
I mean,
that's not the way.
That's the same stupid shit that they said about the asylums. Well, there's a small percentage of the people in them that don't belong there, but they're in there anyway. So we let them all out.
All right.
Yeah.
So now you're doing this heavy-duty marijuana. This marijuana is not the marijuana that you and I did. You know, some of the people who might listen here might be in their 40s and 50s, 60s. Never smoked marijuana. The stuff they have today is this stuff will knock you on your ass. And here's this thing.
Now it's designer. You can get whatever kind of pot you want.
Yeah.
To your specific.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to feel like this, but I want to feel like this, but not that and this. Okay, we have the strain for you here, ma'am. There you go.
Yeah.
Right over the counter now.
Right.
At all of these
shops.
These vape stores now, they may not advertise it out front, but go inside and they'll talk to you freely about it. Yeah. What kind of high do you want? Oh, you want that? Yeah. I just want to get really stoned.
Right. Now I don't know who could buy it. I don't know if you're under 21 you could buy it, but
dude, they're not checking ideas.
So now
I went into one. I went into one where our not too far from where the radio station is, our radio station.
Right.
I went in there. Nobody was being ID'd. There was no questions being asked. It's like, next. Okay, what do you want? Oh, and how stoned do you want to get? Okay, here you go. Here you go, man.
Now, so now you got your smoke.
And they give away freebies.
Yeah.
They give away, like, when you buy something at some of these places, they'll give you, like, a little sealed envelope sort of thing. And inside of it are 2 extremely strong THC gummies, okay? And they will screw you up. Not just tonight. You will be feeling that tomorrow afternoon.
Good. While you're driving your car to work.
Right.
Right, and kill some kid on a bike.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. You got, and then it will, that drug will push you, in my opinion, to do other drugs.
Sure.
You know,
Definitely,
and so what
Mike.
they do,
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
talk to my friends out there who are do work in ERs and everything. They'll smoke the pot and they're getting stoned out of their minds. I see them on the beach. They can't drive, they can't walk, they can't swim, but then they get the next thing they're doing is they start sniffing because they're looking for a better high. Some heroin. They start sniffing it. Yeah. The next thing you know, they're shooting it up, or they're taking the fentanyl, which they don't have to shoot up, and then mixing it with either the pot or, like I said, the methamphetamine, and so it cascades, and it's a bad scenario. So then we get back to all of these drug overdoses, and now these kids are being primed with pot. And then so they're getting addicted to that, and there's kids getting addicted. I see with the papers coming out, cardiology papers now, that these people who've been smoking pot for 20, 30 years, they're dropping like flies with cardiac disease, heart attacks, significant, the same carcinogens that are in cigarette smoke are in marijuana. Even though you don't get the nicotine, but you still got all that other shit in there, and I'm very sure you're going to start to see elevated cancer levels. But in the meantime, the government made it legal. How can the government go after tobacco companies and sue them for causing illnesses, but then sell on the other side marijuana?
Yeah, a bit of a hypocrisy there,
a
isn't
bit.
it?
How can they even say anything about fentanyl?
Right.
Or how can they go after the doctors and the manufacturers of Percocets, but then sell marijuana? Yeah. And this bullshit idea that marijuana is not a drug. I mean, come on. Really. Just like that doctor up there.
See this new little poster hashtag thing we got now?
Just say no. Just say no.
Just no.
Just
no.
And not,
okay, now conversationally...
and it's not no N-O. It's just no K-N.
Now, if you were outside of this conversation and you saw that hashtag and it just says just no, would you even know what the frick that
but to me,
that was trying to tell you?
You know what though? It's a neutral idea. Just know. So I should know about it so I could use it, or should I know about it so I shouldn't use it?
Or should I know it's neutral? So, you don't even know what it is.
Well, when you see it with the premise of fentanyl, you should just know about it. Okay, I didn't know about it.
See, the thing about hashtags are they don't just stay on a poster that you've made. They get passed around. People post just know on an unrelated post. Because they're trying, or say it's a hashtag they made up about doing drugs.
It's vague.
It's very vague.
Right.
And it doesn't. You need something that's going to speak volumes.
Just say no.
Just say no to drugs.
Just say no.
Just say no to drugs.
They got to bring that commercial back.
And then they had that huge red circle with the slash through it. You could not mistake it.
The best one that I liked, and I tell you, it affected me, is where they go, here's your brain.
Here's your brain on.
Here's your normal brain. Here's your brain
on drugs.
It's like, well,
any questions? That was the one where they put an egg in a frying pan.
Yeah.
This is your brain, and then they fried it, and this is your brain on drugs. Do you know how I was a kid watching that? That scared the piss out of me. Like I wouldn't even. Not even on a bet. Right.
So think about. Let's just say you and I we're sitting on a planet.
And I think a young Johnny Depp was in that commercial. Yeah.
Let's just say we're sitting on a planet, 100 billion light years away, planet Xeon, and we're looking at this shit. I'm like, Jeremy, look at these human beings. They're dying like flies with fentanyl, but they're pushing marijuana and selling it, and then the states are suing the drug manufacturers for Percocets. But they're but they're selling marijuana, which is a very powerful drug. It's a different drug, but it's still a mind-altering drug. And it makes no sense what we're doing, and you wonder why these kids are losing their friggin' minds.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to put out that listen, be careful because now they got the fentanyl out there, and I wanted to let the parents know that it's multicolored. It looks like candy.
Yes.
And I don't know how many kids are, come inches away from dying. But it's growing and growing and growing.
You know, when my kid was younger, actually, this was about 4 years ago, I want to say. One of the girls, some girl in his class had smuggled in bath salts into the school. And she was trying to get people to pop them in their mouths and you know, and all that. And that was a big stink in the local schools at the time. And, you know, the girl was like, they were threatening to expel her, but, you know, she was very young. You know, I mean, don't try anything anybody gives you. If it is not sealed or you have your mother's permission or your father's permission, do not accept anything from anyone. If it's the lunch lady, get your sloppy Joe, okay? But if it's anybody else, no, just say no. I will not take them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's just say no. Don't say just no.
Just no. Just know what? Everything they're teaching me in school, I don't know what you're talking about. How about I just don't know? Because that's what's really screaming.
Can you imagine going back in the 50s and 60s on a street corner in Brooklyn and tell these guys, hey, I just know.
Poor little Poindexter on the corner with his beanie with the little propeller on top.
So anyway, what? Just tell me what's the time frame? Good.
Yeah.
So let's. So anyway, we're gonna have more things about fentanyl. Let's change the subject now. Yeah. I want to talk about urgent care centers, and just let me just hang on a second. Urgent care centers are a huge thing right now. They're popping up all over the place. People go there, and I'm starting to read these articles about the urgent care centers, and I see them too. They have limitations. And so I want to make sure people understand what an urgent care center is and does. And urgent care is carved out. What they do is they usually have maybe a doctor, maybe not, maybe just a nurse practitioner. It may not be any doctor there. They're supposed to have an x-ray machine, okay? Yeah. But that's about it. They might be able to do some tests, check for, strep throat, but they're limited on how much they do. Now, that varies, but for the most part, it's not like a true state-of-the-art ER that's in the hospital with all the auxiliary care, okay? Mm-hmm. So you understand that. And you would think most people do. If you fall down and crack your head and you think you have a concussion, you need a CAT scan. It ain't going to do one at an urgent care center.
Right.
Or even if it might be connected to the hospital, they're going to send you over to the ER. So and it's a payment structure there too. So the urgent care centers contract with the insurance companies, and they get a base fee for the visit, maybe $150, $130, $170, depends on the contract. That's it. And it's basically they want to treat you and street you. They want to get you in. And they don't get me wrong, they do a great job. They take an X-ray. They might give you some antibiotics. It's great on the weekend. You know, I get a lot of people who are put on ice pretty much, and then they're sent to me. It's good. But there's two things that you have to understand about urgent care centers. Number one is they don't have the facilities to do everything.
And they should just know.
No. Just know. Just know. They're not going to be able to do a CAT scan, an MRI. Right. And, if you have a severe fracture, some of them have tried to do like closed reduction, but they don't have the ability to monitor even the anesthetic. And there was a kid who was a pediatric patient who had a fractured ankle, an arm or something, and they injected her with a lot of anesthetic, local anesthetic, and they tried to reduce it, and they weren't monitoring her. They don't have it there, and she died. She went into cardiac arrest because she got Marcaine, Provivicaine, which is an anesthetic, toxicity. It's very toxic to the heart.
And this was a wee girl.
Yeah, it was a young girl. I think she was 8 years old, 9 years old. Shit. Big lawsuit, obviously. So you have to be very careful. So so this article here, let's go. But here's the other thing too. These people go there and they get these bills, and especially if it's a car accident. In the United States, I want to make a point. When you have an injury at work, okay, you may or may not use your own insurance, but it's called workman's comp. It's a whole different law. Yeah. It's in all 50 states, and every employer has to have workman's comp insurance. So I have workman's comp insurance that I have to pay. Now, my girls have regular Blue Shield insurance, okay? But on top of that, we have workman's comp. Your regular insurance does not cover work-related injuries. You might say, why not? Well, that's another whole discussion for another day, but it doesn't. So if you get injured in work, you have to use your work's insurance, which is called workman's comp. And they're a whole different animal, okay? Right. You have to bill a different insurance. You have to get pre-certification, and they may tell you what doctor to go to and not. You usually covers one visit emergency-wise. So a lot of urgent care centers don't have contracts with these car insurance, workman's comp. So they have to wait for payment. So you may be turned away from an urgent care center if it is a work-related injury. Right. You may be turned away from anybody's office because we have to get pre-certification. You won't get turned away from the ER, though. Different animals. See, there's different laws. Just so we want to make a point. So hang on one second.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's different ramifications with ER center. Yeah. Urgent care is private. They don't have to accept you. Emergency room doesn't matter. You could be, you could owe $10 million. You could be in debt, and they still got to take care of you. What were you going to say, Jeremy?
No, because I was going to say, I'm not a doctor.
I know that.
Yeah, I know.
But you stayed at a Holiday Inn. I
do say.
But you do brain surgery on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on TV. No. But so if anything's wrong with me and my family, I'm not taking them to a walk-in clinic or something like. It's the emergency room. It's the emergency room. If you have an emergency, these people are set up, and they will redirect you if needed or send you where you need to be. But let's go through the emergency room first, because you don't know what the heck's going on with you.
I'll back off on a little bit with that. I think that, a sprained ankle, a laceration, something minor, instead of sitting 8 hours in the emergency room.
Minor stuff, obviously.
Right. But you have to be educated.
Something happens that puts a little fear into you, that's an emergency room visit.
Well, listen, if you have belly pain, you have chest pain, you got to go to the emergency room. But if you you sprained your finger, you think it might be broke, you burnt yourself on the leg a little bit, a small spot. Right. An urgent care center can be very good. I don't want to poo-poo because they do good work. They're definitely a good, but you have to understand there's limitations on what they could see and do. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, there's limitations on the insurance, which a lot of people don't understand. That's why I want to talk about this, about a bill. The other thing is, if you have a car accident, you're involved in a car accident, okay? Say you hit your head, you go to urgent care center. Again, car accident is using your car accident insurance. You may or may not use your primary insurance. So the car accident, the insurance company, say Allstate or Geico or whatever you're with, they get involved. So an urgent care center, again, may not accept your insurance.
Gotcha.
ER is a whole different animal. So just pull up this. This is an interesting article. I want to make a couple points. So this is turned away from urgent care and toward a big ER bill. So let's read that again. Turned away from urgent care and toward a big ER bill. This was Sam Whitehead, September 29, 2022. So they kind of paint it like that the urgent care that's owned by the hospital realized what kind of insurance it is and sent you over to the ER, and then you got a big bill, And
Frankie Cook remembers last year's car crash, but only in flashes.
Right. She was driving a friend home from high school and blah, blah, blah. This is a nice article. So I just want to go through here. But what happens is that they said, it says, this problem didn't seem to be that the clinic lacked medical expertise to evaluate. That's not true. They don't.
Russell was told to take Frankie to the emergency room.
Right. The doctor looked it over and said, for just a few minutes, did precautionary CT of her head and body and sent her home. This is when she went to ER. Here's the point. You go to an ER, you go to an urgent care center with a head trauma, okay? You need to get a CAT scan. You understand?
Yeah.
Urgent care centers are not going to have a CAT scan. A CAT scan costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions maybe. MRIs are millions. And somebody has to read it. And it takes time to do it.
Another reason why I go to the emergency room.
Right. But so these people were upset. And I understand that. And when they did the CAT scan, it looked good, and they just sent them home. Poo, poo, poo. But this is another one where it cracks me up. So there was no cracked skull or subhemal, blood in the brain. And so they're like, oh, well, we shouldn't have to pay the exam. You pay the doctor to tell you that you don't have that. But I think that
Total bill. Look at the total bill price.
Yeah, total bill was $17,000 for emergency visit, which later was adjusted to $11,000. I don't know if that's good or bad. That seems a little high for me. I think that's that. And again, that's another whole problem. But here's the thing with these bills. I want to make a point. A lot of hospitals, the bills, right, that they charge, Jeremy, are inflated, and they're allowed to be inflated, so the hospital could take care of the poor, which they don't get paid for. You follow me? Get a good example.
The pro bono stuff,
right? Like I have, one of my patients, he has to get heart biopsies. He has a heart transplant. If he goes up to Newark Beth Israel for a biopsy, I think they charge $22,000. If he gets that done, say down in Jersey Shore, it might be $10,000. You say, why is the difference? Because the state of New Jersey allows them to bill Medicare or private insurances that higher level because that hospital is in an inner city and they take care of a lot of poor.
Right.
So there's a lot of finagling. So when you look at this bill here, it's not what is simple as you think it is. The other thing is the insurance that this lady had. They may have deals with the insurance company where they get paid per patient, whether or not the patient's seen or not.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of, and I think that's kind of, that's a lot of money for that bill. I'm very skeptical. That's a lot, But my point is when you go to an urgent care center, there's a lot of things that are going on in there. Remember that, number one, they may not be able to take care of everything. It's not a full ER center. And number two, they may not cover everything. I don't want to show these people. This is, so this was an article that came out here. And so here it is, in short, paid $4,000 per claim. So you can go on and on here. But the biggest thing here about this, the takeaway, here it is the takeaway. It's important to remember that urgent care centers aren't governed by the same laws as emergency rooms, and that they can be more selective about who they treat. Sometimes their reasons are financial, not clinical. You understand? Yeah. So
another
sometimes
reason to go to
okay, all right. But that's your decision. But understand,
and like I said,
you make a good point.
Folks, I am not a doctor. I don't see things the way a doctor would or a nurse would or anything like that.
No.
I see things like you would out there. When I'm thinking of my family and I'm thinking I want to reduce the amount of mistakes, I'll go to an emergency room rather than anything.
Well, I'll tell you another thing that's a benefit of emergency room. If you come in, I'm on call, let's say. I'm on call. What that means is there's doctors that are on call in every specialty, or not most of the time. So let's just say you have a severe foot and ankle injury, right? You're going to go to the ER. They're going to look at it. ER doc's going to look at it. PAs are going to look at it. And then they're going to call me. And then I'm going to get involved. And either I'm going to come in, or I'm going to triage it over the phone, or they send me pictures. I'll order tests, and then we go forward.
And folks, if anything happens to you or your loved ones below the in the lower extremities, and you're in an emergency room, you can ask, and you're local, you can ask for Dr. Michael Kachmar. Ask for Dr. Kachmar. That was a saying that was going around here for a long time. And you can still ask for him today.
Right. So here's an interesting thing here. And again, I'm not bashing the urgent care centers. I think they're very good.
Yeah.
So it says, although urgent care visits are less expensive than going to an emergency room, the clinics, which is, they're saying basically the urgent care clinics, often can't offer the same level of care. Not often, and you might have to pay the cost of an urgent care.
It depends upon the cases and all. It depends upon a lot of stuff.
But follow this. Let me finish this sentence here. And you might have to pay the cost of an urgent care visit just to find out you need follow-up care in the emergency room. Then you could be stuck with two bills. But the other side of the coin with that is that the opposite could be the case. You could find out that you don't need to go to the emergency room.
Yeah, but it's funny why they didn't say that.
Well, maybe they're biased. They don't like urgent care.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, you could get rid of this here. I think that the point I wanted to make is that you can make the decision. Urgent care are not the same as an emergency room.
No, they're not the same. They're not the same at all. And of course, don't take what I say. We have a disclaimer up front of our show for that specific reason. But for me, I've always gone to the emergency room. I've never thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
But how many people I get, they sit there for 6-7 hours, And a lot of times, you have to really think about it. And there's some urgent care centers that have doctors that are there that own it, and it's a little bit more than an urgent care. It's almost more like a doctor's office. And they'll follow up, they'll do more. So not every urgent care center is the same. Now, there was a big corporation that just bought off a whole bunch of urgent care centers here, and they're just like, stores. They're like an industry. Home Depot, Walmart. It's not mom and pop anymore, and I think they're dangerous. And I can tell you, I'll make a prediction about urgent care centers. I think you're going to see, more and more. How do I want to say this without? I don't want to be slanderous, but there are going to be a lot where if they miss something or they don't have the facilities, I'm hoping and I'm recommending anybody who works in these urgent care centers, you go there, get a second opinion after you're done. I think it's good. Like because they'll take an X-ray, and a lot of times there's no radiologist to read it until the next day or a couple days.
Right.
They don't have a radiologist on staff. They'll take the X-ray. The doctor or the PA will interpret it. Yeah. And this is another thing.
So you probably want to go somewhere where people are in more of an emergency to get things done, right?
Well, even in the ER now, though, here's the thing, though. Even in the ER hospital,
right,
you may not even see a doctor.
No, you're right about that.
And you may not.
Yeah,
and here's the thing.
You're right about that.
I would say you have the right, and maybe they'll throw you out, but if you go to emergency care room center and say, listen, I want to see a doctor. And usually a doctor oversees it, but he's her or him are in the background.
Or on a boat somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but they should be supervised. I would, if you have something, say, listen, I want to speak to a doctor. If they give you a hard time, well, that's it. But I would at least try,
But don't you think it's a little upsetting though, to just the average Joe, okay, that you can't go to either one of these places and 100% know what to expect?
That's what the problem with medicine
like
is.
service-wise and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think like most of the ERs where I'm there is you will eventually get potentially the best care. A lot of times what happens is they get busy and the ER docs, they want to move things along. They want people, and they want to get you in and out. They get so many people waiting that they want to try to triage it. So they're not bad people. I mean, the system is very difficult. When you get 3, 4, 5 hour waiting, that's not good either. No. Somebody could die out in the waiting room. So you want to try to move things. If you got somebody who has an ankle fracture,
if you know going in, it's a trivial thing, and you could be going to somebody else. Like, all right, say something.
A cold. Wait, you might, but if
you're clogging up.
Right, but the other thing is with Corona, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, Jeremy, you got an ankle fracture.
You just don't know.
No, but you know what it is, there's a lot of things that could be done on the outside. That's why I think there's a place for urgent care center. I think there's a place for the ER. I think you need to be an educated consumer. That's why we're saying things.
Yeah. Now, there you go. You're right. Because that's the only way these places work. If you're educated enough to know what to expect from urgent care or from the
Right.
emergency
Listen,
room.
if you're involved, I'll tell you what, if you fall from a height, or or a car accident or some trauma, you need to either one or two places. Believe it or not, where it's the best care is given, the highest level of care is in a doctor's office.
Yeah.
I know it does sound crazy. Yeah, I don't have all the facilities.
No, but you can get hands-on with the patient and see and feel and know.
I have more liability in my office than the ER. ER can mess up, has a certain level because it's emergency, it's crazy, but they'll always say, follow up with somebody. And we're the bottom line to make the determination. That's why when I'm on call, they might want to send somebody home. This happens a lot of times. And I'll get the PA or the doctor say, hey, Mike, Dr. Kachmar, I want to bounce this case off you. I think it's okay to send them home. They got this or this or this. What do you think? And then I get involved. And, 99% of the time they're right. But sometimes I say, you know what? Maybe we should admit the patient, put him on observation.
Because you might have had an experience that differed from the other doctor.
Right. Or
that might make you say those things.
Right.
That's the whole point of a second opinion.
Or, sometimes you don't know. And that's why I like the idea of observation. We all work as a team. I think that most of what I see, though, the urgent care centers in this area where we are very, very good and prudent. When they see something that is even smells a little bit, more than what they can handle, they refer. They refer right to the ER or they refer to us. So I have to say that they will do that. The question is, from your perspective, if it's a workman's comp, a car accident, or a workman's injury, you may want to just go to the emergency room because you're going to, or come to the office here. When we get a phone call from one of those people, we can't see you until we get permission from the car insurance carrier or the workman's comp.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll let one, and so, you can go to ER, but you can come to us. But again, we can't see you until we get that clearance, and they may not let us. The other thing is, if it's something that bad, head trauma, of severe laceration, they're not going to be able to handle that there. You need to go to the emergency room, especially like I'll go to the emergency room. Sometimes I'll put people in the operating room that night or next morning. You know, Jeremy?
Yeah.
So you have to, and the ER, what I think that the urgent care centers need to do is they need to be able to evaluate that and know that. And I think they're good at that. When they see something that's like, I mean, a woman with, severe abdominal pain, it could be atopic pregnancy. I mean, there's a lot of things that are real, dangerous. You could have a obstruction of your colon, a gallbladder. You're going to go, urgent care center ain't going to be able to do shit with you if you have a gallbladder. Or appendicitis. Right. They can't, if you think that an urgent care center.
No, but that's interesting you say appendicitis, because I was just thinking about when my son had it, an appendicitis, and he was little, and he woke up with like screaming at abdominal pains, like right in the front.
Right.
And I'm like, I says, it could be a stomach ache, and then over the next hour, the pain moved to the side, and I'm like, okay, emergency room. Yeah, that's appendicitis.
But you didn't take him to urgent care center.
No.
Okay. Then the opposite's true. I worked a lot in the ER, and I remember you get a kid come in or a person come in who had a venereal disease, and they're in the emergency room. I'm like, what are you doing?
I just think
ingrown toenail, a Stein, stupid shit like where a boil on their ass,
you're not wrong though. But so what exactly? Warren, because all right, emergency room. Okay, I like the sound of that name. Okay,
yeah.
Urgent. Was it urgent care center?
Yeah.
All right, so the emergency room's a little bit more urgent than the urgent care center. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The way they choose their words too. So if my son did have appendicitis, and I did take him to it seemed urgent to me. But this one's definitely an emergency, not exactly as
No. What's interesting is that what happens is the ERs were getting so inundated that a lot of the hospitals too have both. They have an ER and they have an urgent care. And then theoretically, when you have an injury or something, you'll call up your primary doctor. Him and her or he or her will say, you know what, go to the urgent care or go to ER. And they could try to triage. So that's always good too, and, like you have a minor fracture of the foot. You don't really need to go to the emergency room. You could go to an urgent care center. They'll take x-rays. They'll splint it. They'll send you to me. That's totally fine. And if you have any doubts, a lot of times you call us. You come right to us. We could just get you in the next day, most likely. But if you want to get an x-ray, that's fine too. You get peace of mind. But I think that there is a lot that could be done.
What can they get? Sorry, say somebody has a situation like that. What can they get? What care can you do right away at your place?
Well, with a fracture, you have to evaluate it, and we immobilize it. We give them pain medications, and if it's something that needs to be operated on, we get the process going to admit them to the hospital.
Do you have an X-ray machine there?
Yeah, I have an X-ray machine. Okay. We X-ray. Yeah,
so you can actually take the X-ray right there.
Yeah, we do everything there.
See, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Like going to someone like you, it just makes sense.
Right.
You have the materials, you have the machines,
right?
You have the know-how. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's better to come to me. Urgent care center can take an X-ray. Yeah. The thing is going to happen with the urgent care center is whoever's in there may or may not even be on staff at the local hospital. Okay, so there's an added benefit coming to me because if you come in and say you have an infection in your leg, urgent care center is going to say go to ER. I'm going to say go to ER, but I'm putting you in the hospital, and then I'm going to manage it. So we go forward.
Now, is it possible that at an urgent care center that the doctor may not be a licensed doctor?
No. You can't practice. That's practicing without a license.
I know what it is. I'm just asking if it's possible.
Anything's possible. You could have you could have a mass murderer, being an ER doc. I mean, you could have a paranoid schizophrenic. I mean, anything's possible. You could have an alien. You could have somebody from a zombie. But it's a probability. No, what you have now in the hospital and in the urgent care centers is you have nurse practitioners, and they're called physician extenders. So basically, they work under a doctor. Either they're on site, the doctor's on site, or they're off site and they're communicating, and so they're trained. They don't have the full credentials of a doctor, but they are.
But they also don't look like an alien.
No. And in the ER, you also have residents. There's a lot of people involved. You have nurses. So and even in like I said, the urgent care center. I don't want to paint a picture that urgent care center you're not getting good care. You're getting good care, but they are limited because they don't have the referral base. They don't have a CAT scan. They don't have an MRI. They can't do blood real quick. Yeah. Like I don't know. Some have, maybe some do. I could get if you're in an emergency room, I could order blood on you, and I could have it back in minutes, if not hours. Yeah. Okay, I could get a CAT scan like ASAP, X-rays ASAP. I could get, and then if I'm concerned, I could get a consult. I could get a cardiac consult. 3-4 doctors could be involved in your case within hours.
You want to know why I got like? It sounds like obviously this whole show. It sounds like I have a bad taste in my mouth for urgent care centers.
Yeah,
it's just that it puts me off knowing that so many of them are located in a strip mall next to a frozen yogurt place. And as a consumer, I look at that and I don't take it seriously. I can't. I see it there, and 2 doors down. I mean, if this was the 80s, you could get photo finishing. But I mean, that's my point. It's like it doesn't belong in a strip mall. Now, maybe if they put an important place like that somewhere else where, okay, it's standing on its own, so that's an urgent care place.
Right.
But next to a dance studio, and it's in between that and the frozen yogurt, and you're gonna help me, or you're gonna save my husband's life. I don't know.
Well, again, we'll leave.
And then afterwards, we can get some frozen yogurt.
Yeah. Well, I want to make 2 other things. And
do you see my point?
No, I see your point big time. Listen,
it doesn't look professional.
I understand that. I understand that. Yeah. That's true. Again, a lot of people like the convenience of it. I mean, for colds and stuff like that, get a flu vaccine.
That's a good point.
They're giving flu vaccines.
But you're losing a lot to convenience.
Right.
Okay? You're losing a lot to it.
Listen, you in the state of New Jersey now, I believe that the pharmacists could write for insulin. All right? You go in there, they could give you insulin. You don't have to see a doctor for like 7 years to get insulin anymore.
Yeah.
And different states are different, but you don't need a prescription to get insulin in New Jersey, but you need a prescription to get the syringe to inject it.
How mental, right?
Hey, listen, good luck. So let me give you because we're getting
let's get going.
Wait, I want to do another thing here. Let me just put this here because this is our fantastic government. Can you put go to the let me pull this up here, and just go to my iPad again. Here you go. Still going on. This is September 25th, 2022. And I want to remind everybody, the President of the United States is not Trump.
No.
Right?
Currently, no.
The FDA investigating the ongoing baby formula shortage. Why? Let me ask you seriously, do you think we would have a baby formula shortage if Trump was in office right now?
No. He'd be making it himself if that were the case.
Here, I love this here. On September 20th, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, released an internal report on the fumbles and mishaps that led to a delay in response to the formula crisis. This administration, in my opinion, is just incompetence. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you. Look at it here. I mean, it goes on and on and on. What are they going to do? You could read this article. I don't want to get into it, but I just want to make a point, Jeremy.
FDA.
We still have a baby formula shortage. Yeah. Can you imagine if Trump was in office right now? They would go friggin' crazy. Crazy.
Dude, it would never have happened to begin with if Trump was in office right now. It wouldn't have happened.
Listen, the other thing is, I don't want to get off into a big tangent. This thing with the Ukraine, why aren't we trying to have peace talks? Now you have the sabotage. Right. Now you have Putin annexing land. That's the preset to Russia. I mean, to China do that. We're going towards World War III. Are we friggin' insane? We're gonna have a big flash and that's it. Why don't we negotiate a peace? Why are we going down this road? I mean, this is getting crazy. But anyway.
And Putin, I just got off the phone with my dad before.
I thought you said you got off the phone with Putin.
Yeah, oh, you know, he and
you and him are just like that, right? You and him.
Yeah, me, him, Alejandro Mayorkas.
You and
yeah, we have a good old time.
You and what did you say with your dad?
My father was saying I'm watching him. He's like laying there in his bed, and I'm like, "Wait, you cold, Dad?" And he's like, "Oh, it's freezing." I'm like, "Well, you know," he's like, "Oh, we got to put the heat on." I'm like, "Well, put the heat on." He's like, "No, son, like the bills are all doubled now." And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because of Vladimir Putin."
Yeah.
And I'm like, so it's really affecting you guys.
Oh.
And it's getting cold over there now, buddy.
It's going to get real cold.
Oh, yeah.
But my thing is though, Jeremy, is that we're in a time warp, and you better hope. I always say it, and I say it over and over again. Einstein said this. I don't know how World War III is going to be fought, but World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah.
And if you don't think we're getting closer and closer, right now Russia is going to annex, which means they're going to take over land and property in Ukraine. They're never going to give it back. And what is the United States going to do? And then
especially when the United States is so destabilized by fighting amongst themselves, a possible civil war on the horizon.
I wouldn't worry. Listen, I'm not worried about that. We're going to shake that out.
I'm worried about everything, Mike. I can't afford not to be worried about one of these things.
I'm going to tell you right now, which is going to be a game changer. If China moves on Taiwan, and they've done it before. When Clinton was president, they sent ships over there. We had to send the 6th Fleet down. If they do that now and annex.
Was it you who told me about China and said these are business people? They just want to do business?
No, you asked me if they all use chopsticks over there, and I said that's very racist.
Yeah, it was really racist.
I know quite a few Chinese people use forks. So I just want to let you know.
What, like one? You know one.
What were you going to ask me? No. The Chinese model. I don't want the Chinese model.
No. It's like the people over in China, are any of them... you let me lose my train of thought completely. It's gone.
I can tell you right now,
it's gone.
It's pretty bad. So let's just let's finish up with the case of the week, Jeremy.
All right.
Okay.
Case of the week. Let's bring it over here.
Let's put it over here.
Man.
I took a piece of glass out of a woman. Can you lower the mute that for me? Mute it. Mute it. Up here.
Bigger that way.
Yeah. That's all right. Let's do it. Do it again.
You have to do it on.
No, come here, Jeremy. Just up top, over here where it says movie over here. Hey, give me that. Give me.
I don't know why you let me have the mouse.
No. So listen, we're gonna. You go up here. See it right here. So we're gonna mute this right now. This is the video here. So I took a piece of glass out for everybody who wants to see this out of this woman's foot. 2 pieces of glass, and it's up on the screen now, so you can look at it. And you gotta hit it right here. And there it is, right there. And see where the mute. See, look at the size of that thing.
Look at this. That's hardly a sliver.
That's a small one. That's the big. That's
that
big.
Is a half a glass.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Here's the inches over here. There's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch.
4 inch. Yeah.
Isn't that something? Isn't that amazing? I'll play that one more time. Let me play it right here. Hang on. I think that's amazing. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So I took that out. And that was in her foot. She slept with that all night. They didn't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, they didn't know it was in there.
Come on. How did she sleep?
I don't know. That's pretty bad.
Oh, good grief.
So anyway, Jeremy, what do you want to say to our audience? Anything that you have to say?
I do have something I just want to say. Last weekend marked a very special event for my good friend, Dr. Michael Kachmar, across from me. He married the woman of his dreams, the very beautiful. I like that, the woman Virginia,
of her dreams.
And she looks stunning. I think more beautiful than any bride I've seen in the longest time. The lovely Ava sang beautifully afterwards. And our pal Mike, Dr. Kachmar, he said the coolest speech, man. He was so happy to see his friends and family.
Yeah.
God bless him. God bless Virginia, and God bless his whole family.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, you want to sign us out?
You got the thing.
Yeah. So we're gonna tell them what. So we're.
Oh yeah. So after this show, we're gonna be posting it on. We're going to be posting it on podcasts all around. So you're going to be able to find them on iTunes, Google, Yahoo, Audible, and Spotify, places like that. You're going to be able to find them everywhere podcasts are found. All you got to do is type in Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar, and you'll find our shows. And the visual shows are all stored on our our YouTube and our Facebook and on our Rumble channel as well. If you haven't visited our Rumble, I recommend you do. Like it and subscribe to it however you like. Because that's in the Rumble channel, you're going to find not just Scrubbing Up, you're going to find Lifeguarding with Dr. Michael Kachmar. You're going to find Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper. And then you're going to find Radio Free America with the incomparable Dr. Barbara Schneider.
And tell them how to get a hold of us, Jeremy, if they want to send an email.
Yeah, if you want to send an email for Scrubbing Up, please go to drkachmar@icloud.com. That's DRKACHMAR @icloud.com.
And then our
website,
webpage,
of course, is JerseyShoreFootAndLegCenter.com. You're going to see some great products to keep you healthy and keep you nice and trim. Products that I am in dire need of, and find out more about what Dr. Kachmar can do for you.
There's a lot there. So anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a nice weekend, and Jeremy will be here tomorrow, I guess, right, with Dr. Schneider.
Dr. Schneider.
So
and, we always say this, guys, and I want to stress it now. Try to be kind to each other.
Yes.
You know, we need it more in this world.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Take care, and enjoy your weekend.